All people who are in South Africa or in KwaZulu-Natal without permits, they have to go back to their countries. That is a firm position by our government, by our citizens, that to be here, you must be here legally so. Commissioner, or it's a national task team, special task team establisher or coordinator. The founder of March and March, Mrs. Jacinta Ngobese Zuma, and the founder of Insizwa, Insizwa Ngobunsizwa, Mr. Ndabandaba, and Deputy Commissioner from eThekwini Metro. The members of the media present today, ladies and gentlemen, we have had quite progressive engagements today in a subject that every citizen in the province and in the country at large is concerned about. Today's engagement forms part of an ongoing and sustainable provincial dialogue on the complex challenges associated with undocumented foreign nationals or undocumented migration in KwaZulu-Natal. This session follows the multi-stakeholder roundtable, which was convened on the 24th of February 2026, where government, law enforcement agencies, municipalities, and civil society organizations began a structured engagement on how best to address undocumented migration while preserving social cohesion, constitutionalism, and public order. Today's meeting focused specifically on the situation within the eThekwini Metropolitan Municipality. Present in the meeting were representatives from eThekwini Municipality, relevant provincial departments, the Department of Home Affairs, the South African Police Service led by Provincial Commissioner, Lieutenant General Nhlahla Mkhwanazi, as well as civil society formations, including March and March, represented by the founder, Mrs. Ngobese Zuma, and Insizwa Nobunsizwa Development Foundation, represented by Mr. Ndabandaba. The meeting endorsed a government's Engangeni Ngesango Iyafohla campaign as a focused and coordinated intervention aimed at addressing undocumented migration, associated criminality, and the exploitation of weaknesses within enforcement systems. Let me state this clearly and without ambiguity. This campaign is not directed against foreign nationals. It is not rooted in xenophobia. It is not a campaign of hatred. It is a campaign in defense of the rule of law, public safety, economic fairness, and the integrity of our constitutional democracy. KwaZulu-Natal remains a province founded on the values of Ubuntu, hospitality, human dignity, and social solidarity. Our history and identity reject xenophobia in all its forms. We recognize that migration itself is not a crime. History tells us that people have moved across borders in pursuit of opportunity, safety, and a better future. However, undocumented migration creates vulnerabilities that are too often exploited by criminal syndicates, human traffickers, unscrupulous employers, and those who undermine lawful economic participation and social stability. The meeting expressed concerns about one of the most dangerous developments in this debate: the deliberate confusion between lawful enforcement and xenophobic hostility. These are not the same. A sovereign democratic state has both the rights and the responsibility to regulate migration, enforce its laws, and protect the well-being of its citizens and lawful residents. Equally so, our Constitution demands the enforcement must always be conducted within the framework of legality, due process, and human dignity. Order and humanity are not opposing principles. They are complementary obligations of a responsible governance. Through the Engangeni Ngesango Iyafohla campaign, multidisciplinary teams comprising law enforcement agencies, immigration authorities, labor inspectors, municipalities, and other enforcement stakeholders have already undertaken coordinated operations across the province. Importantly so, today's presentations by March and March, as well as Insizwa Nobunsizwa Development Foundation, were welcomed for bringing forward constructive proposals and practical solutions to the problem that we are faced with as a country and as a province. There is a broad agreement that both state and non-state actors must work collaboratively under the umbrella of the Engangeni Ngesango Iyafohla campaign to strengthen lawful and community-centered interventions. Citizen participation remains essential in any democracy. However, legitimate public concerns must never be hijacked by opportunists seeking to incite violence, loot businesses, intimidate communities, destroy property, or spread hatred. We have seen elsewhere how quickly lawful civic mobilization can descend into lawlessness when discipline and leadership collapse. That must never happen in KwaZulu-Natal. No individual or organization has the authority to enforce immigration law outside the framework of the state. No grievance, however genuine, justifies vigilantism. No frustration should become a license for xenophobia. Our message is simple and firm. Criminality has no nationality, and justice cannot be selective. As the provincial government, our response will remain intelligence-led, coordinated, lawful, and unwavering. At the same time, we recognize that this matter extends beyond provincial competence alone. It raises broader national and international questions relating to border management, immigration systems, labor market regulations, identity management, diplomatic cooperation, and regional migration governance. This is why sustained engagement with national government, border management authorities, diplomatic representatives, and all relevant institutions remains essential. This challenge cannot be resolved through slogans or emotional reactions. It requires policy coherence, it requires institutional capacity, it requires public education grounded in facts rather than fear. And above all, It requires leadership that is firm, responsible, and constitutional. As government, we must continue educating our communities honestly. Illegal immigration is, in fact, a legal and governance matter, not a racial issue. The enforcement of migration law is a responsibility of the state, not vigilante groups. Public frustration must be channeled through lawful democratic participation, not mob action. And compassion for human dignity must never become an excuse for state paralysis. Today's engagement must mark a decisive turning point, moving us from a diagnosis to implementation, from fragmented reaction to coordinated action, and from anger to sustainable solutions grounded in law, accountability, and social cohesion. As government, we are making a clarion call to all stakeholders, law enforcement agencies, municipalities, civil society, business, traditional leadership, faith-based organizations, and communities to unite behind a common program of action that protects both the rule of law and the dignity of all people. In the coming month, which is June, the Office of the Premier will present a comprehensive program of action developed through consultation with all stakeholders represented in this process. This program will outline practical interventions, clear responsibilities, coordinated enforcement mechanism, and community-based initiatives aimed at addressing undocumented migration, strengthening public safety, and preserving social stability in KwaZulu-Natal. KwaZulu-Natal will continue to welcome all people who are in our country lawfully, who contribute positively to our economy and communities, and who respect the laws of the Republic of South Africa. At the same time, we will act decisively against criminality, exploitation, and undocumented activities that undermine public safety, economic justice, and social cohesion. Today, we reaffirm a simple but powerful principle. We can defend the rule of law without abandoning human dignity. We can protect our communities without embracing hatred. And we can confront undocumented migration firmly without losing our constitutional soul. We still maintain all people who are in South Africa or in KwaZulu-Natal without permits, they have to go back to their countries. If they want to come back, they must only come when they have what permits them to be in KwaZulu-Natal. That is a firm position by our government, by our citizens, that to be here, you must be here legally so. If not so, you are against the law. Hence, the law must take its course. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dr. Jones. Why not TV? Please subscribe. Bye for now till we meet again next time. Subscribe.